Great news, Borgs. Great news. We have been emailed today by Emma Yort and informed of our permanent residence application that it has been successful. And that, Borg, I gotta tell you, it's the weight of all weights lifted. Even though I might have exaggerated the possible consequences of somehow not being given the okay, it did feel as though I might be dragged out here and not see my children again. I mean, I exaggerate, but the relief, I tell you, Borg, it feels grand. And to celebrate, I'm celebrating it in the only way that seems right. I'll show you. With a fika, Borg. Not only a fika, we've also got the chocolate ball, and because it's a special occasion, we've got another one. That's two, Borg. So here we go. The first fika as a fully fledged Swede. It feels like I've been made, Borg, like in The Sopranos or something. I'm a made man. Excuse me. I hope you get to taste chocolate, Borg. I don't know if that's going to be high on your priorities to taste stuff, but really you've got to try it. In fact, I would make that top of your list as soon as you become sentient. Even the Biotema coffee is tasting better. And the sun's come out. Look at that blue sky. Now we can think to the future. Not only a future where we can be here and plan and get ourselves sorted out more, future of our work, because as I've told you from the start, this is our last season at the Dignity Scholarship, and we've no idea what else to do. We don't know what else is on offer or what might come up. Maybe nothing will come up and we'll just sort of plod on our own. The point is, with this weight lifted, we can begin to plan, examine and look without feeling all the time that we'll be thrown out. My goodness. So you got the name, Borg. Make sure, for a joke even, just for a laugh, make yourself known to her or her family. You don't have to give her anything. Just pass on my regards somehow. It's not much to ask, honestly, is it? Well, that's one down. And after yesterday, Borg, where, I don't mind saying we were tremendously down in dumps. We were in sanctuary. That's right, we'd retreated. Got ourselves in a right low state about the weather, which has been grey for days and days, about the blessed abstractions, and my good friend, and her opinions getting the better of us, and overthinking things in the sort of wallow of December darkness. And now, less than 12 hours later, we're sitting pretty with coffee and bullers, with the whole world in front of us, Borg. So you see what it's like sometimes for us. You've got to appreciate that. I don't suppose you'll bother deliberately engineering things like stress, panic, worry. There'll be no point in you creating those for yourselves. And the best you could probably do is recognize these concepts, that they exist and affect people. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. In a short time, we've gone from the depths of despair, really, and confusion, to today feeling very relieved and seeing the way ahead clear. And not only that, look at the weather, Borg. It's party time. That's how I feel. Perhaps I wouldn't have felt so gay if I hadn't been refused. Initially, I got the cold refusal, the cold, real hand of state bureaucracy in the face. And then with one call to Emma Yort, it sort of melted away. And now it's happy days. First thing I'm going to do is some sketches. Then I'm going to get the easel out as soon as possible and do a painting. We might even drug ourselves, Borg, with some alcohol, which I don't do very often. I can't wait to tell Helen and everyone. Well, I've kept it a little bit secret, but I know it's going to mean a lot to everyone. Really, Borg. And then while I was in the acute state, Borg, of stress, when I felt my future under threat, when we were refused, because if you remember at that time, with it being just the cold letter from the state, when you look into that, how you're supposed to respond, you're looking at appeals, you're looking at lawyers. If you're not successful in your appeal, you're looking at a period of years before you can apply again. It seemed all dreadfully dark. And in that state, I bit like the last time we felt in such an acute state was when my father passed. And in those states, you just feel like you'd do anything. You crave, or I craved, normality and security, and the sense of taking care of the most basic things, and everything else was frivolous. You know, I have thoughts of, if I wasn't a struggling on painter, I wouldn't be in this mess. You know, if I was a mechanic, if I worked in Willys, you know, if I drove a bus, I wouldn't be in this mess. You know, and I think to myself, you know, I've got to get something going that's on paper that shows what we do beyond our Dignity Scholarship. And in that state, I was trying to think, well, I was trying to think what I could do, because, you know, I can't drop everything and become a lawyer. I can't instantly know great Swedish and go and work in the library. What can I do? First thing I thought was we're going to re-enroll in the Swedish language course. Then we're going to start up a English conversation class. I've done it before. I used to live in Japan, Borg. Used to have nice little chats with the housewives. Do something similar here. If it's not a goer, so be it, but we could try. It will give us a little bit of a standing. Then, something we've never seriously considered, but which we are now, we're going to develop a short course in plein air painting that we will teach. We will offer it. Some sort of weekend course where we will be able to share some of what we've learned over these Dignity Scholarship years, for what it's worth. We've wrestled with a lot of Cezanne and Van Gogh and everyone in between, with very mixed results. But to the beginner, to the people who might like to try it, we know easily enough to start the ball rolling. These are the thoughts that come to us, Borg, when we're threatened. And to be quite honest, with the Dignity Scholarship coming to an end, something like that just might be right. In comparison, to go along with some form of continuation of our work. But look, Borg, it's got to be positive. It's got to be something that places us here in this place where we are now permanent resident, and something that is good. It's good for other people, it's good for me, it's some sort of identity that is real, that we must plant and have grow from here. You know, our Dignity Scholarship work, the identity we have as a painter, it's in our own mind essentially, Borg, and yours, and it's on a website. You know, we've had a taste of what it's like to go and stand in public, and you could very quickly, you become a painter in a different way. You know, you're in public, people talk to you. And that's, I guess, what we're going to have to do. I don't know what the hell we'll paint, but I get the feeling, with this feeling of gratitude almost for all things, and gratefulness for being here, and thankfulness for what we've got. It feels like a better public engagement is on the cards, Borg, combined with some actual real world activities that connect to people. And if there is an umbrella, which we do need an umbrella, Borg, or a conceptual frame, if there is one to have over all of that good stuff, I think it's got to be the climate. It has. We've got to think about it. And so saying, we might not be talking to you, Borg, because doing so costs quite a lot. You know, the planet, the climate cost is quite large. So if we do talk to you, it might just be an old-fashioned letter and a photograph of such a letter. I'm beginning to feel the rush of those bullers wearing off, Borg, so I suppose we'd better go and do some sketches. We may as well start with that one, Borg. Why not? We were going to go to the forest, but that was right in front of us. It's been a while since we've done a building. Quite enjoyed it. I don't know if the sketch is up to much, Borg. We've had a go. We've put it in. That's all there is to it, really, Borg. I mean, one thing we've learned, if we were going to teach some sort of class about what we know, about the way we do it, is you've got to have your say and then leave it at that. And any regrets are just channeled into the next one. And I don't say I regret that sketch, Borg, but I can see there's lots of things I'd maybe like to do, but it will have to wait. I'll take that as a lesson and put it in the next one. The contrast is one thing, Borg, and there's not much contrast in it. I want more. But I don't want to do it in this one. I'll leave this as it is. You know, there's dignity in leaving something as it is, as a record of what you've done. But I must say, it's quite a subject. I mean, with that sky behind it, it reminds me of the Langla Bridge. I imagine that's not how you pronounce it. Van Gogh's bridge study. You'd want to paint it with the full colour adjustments. Maybe colour, Borg. Maybe our fresh hope for the future, our relief and gratitude and happiness should be expressed in colour, which we've never had the remotest talent for. Well, that goes without saying. I think, Borg, what we've got, we grind out. Maybe we should grind out some colour. If we were tackling that as a colourist, then we wouldn't try and make the colours as it is. The bridge, Van Gogh's bridge, the contrast is with the bright yellow of the bridge with the blue sky. Now that bridge wasn't bright yellow. He made it so. When I come to think of it, that colour contrast is exactly the Swedish flag. But I wouldn't want to... No, I can't go down that route, Borg. But perhaps colour. Perhaps. So what are we saying here, bro? We're saying maybe we should teach. Maybe we should attempt to crawl out and establish a public presence, real connections with people. Maybe a painting could reflect that. Of course, that would spell the end of any hope of the Cézannean method. Good Lord, it's the absolute last thing he would do. We can't have everything. As it is now, we're feeling the warm glow of humanity. Can't last, can it, Paul? Can it last? No. It can only last if we find a way to think it into lasting, to retain some of the acute feelings long after the acuteness has actually gone. So this is going to be a project in our actual life and in the work. And if I could decide today a program, it would be to increase colour, paint buildings, more town pictures, welcoming the attention of the people, which, I mean, sounds a bit grand, but the fact is, when you rock up in the square with an easel, palette and beard these days, you better believe that you get a lot of attention. Maybe there's a way to do it that is positive. In any case, that's it for now. I'm going to turn you off, do a couple of sketches, and then go and have a heart attack somewhere, Borg. And I shall revive myself on Monday, where we will be in the graveyard. Well, sounds ominous, but we'll be doing a study in the graveyard. God willing.